Welcome. My name is Maggie Stiles, and I'm the Assistant Director of the Annual Catholic Appeal, and I will be your faithful narrator throughout this recorded presentation. We want to thank you for taking the time to gain a detailed understanding of what it means to process the annual Catholic Appeal gifts that come through your office. We sincerely appreciate your time and efforts to work with us to make the campaign run smoothly, so let's get started. What you will learn today: organizing the pledge envelopes, processing online donations, data entry of pledges and gifts, processing blank envelopes, sending in envelopes and reports, comparing your reports with the detailed donor report, reading other reports, campaign status and rebate, reporting results through your bulletin, email, parish Facebook page, parish app, and your website. This is something we want to highlight before we get into the details of organizing your envelopes, but it does pertain. New this year, we are no longer accepting coin. So if you receive any envelopes that contain coins, we are asking you to open them and replace with cash. Open with another person present and initial the envelope. We have an automatic envelope opener, and coins will damage the machine, so any envelopes we receive with coins will not be processed. Now moving on to the next steps of organizing the envelopes, the first thing you want to do is fill in your parish ID number. And here's a tip: before putting envelopes in mailings or pews, put your parish ID on them in the bottom corner. This includes pledge cards that are for the follow-up mailings. Next, you want to sort the envelopes into piles: complete versus blank. If an envelope from a non-registered donor is submitted and they did not write your parish in to receive credit, include it on a separate report and note that they are not registered. Sometimes folks will visit your parish and turn in an envelope through you, but actually be registered at another parish. We won't know where the gift will be credited until we look it up in our system. However, this is where you putting your parish ID on the pledge envelope is important. If they are not registered at any parish, you would get credit. If an envelope from a parishioner comes in, but they wrote in another parish to receive credit, create a separate report because we have to honor that request. The third step is to alphabetize the complete envelopes by last name. This is so that when you print out your PDF summary sheets, you can bundle them together quickly, or if you use our Excel template or the manual form, you can enter the names alphabetically. You want to apply the donor labels next. These are included in your material shipment. If you use your own labels, make sure the ACA ID is included. If it is not, and you put your labels on all the envelopes in that packet, the entire thing will be set aside for research, thus delaying input and reporting. Use a red pen for any corrections to the label that you want us to notice. And if you need to write notes on any envelopes, use Post-its. So I just want to go over an example of our pledge envelope. In particular, the first thing is label placement. Please place the label on the top right corner, at least a 1/4 inch below the edge. If it's too close to the edge, and here is a good example, the envelope opener that we have in our office may damage the label, specifically the ACA ID number and the parish ID number. If you know that the donor has provided a new mailing address, please highlight this so that we can update our database as soon as possible. And then again, just highlighting the importance of filling in your parish ID number at the bottom. And for imprinted pledge envelopes, if the donor information is imprinted and there are no changes to it that you know of, you do not need to affix the label. The good news about online donations is you do not need to report them to the ACA office. Treat these email notifications as if the donation has already been sent to us. All you need to do is mark them in your database so the parishioner does not receive a follow-up letter. Please do not forward or reply directly back to these emails. If you have questions, please email the ACA office with your inquiry. Data entry and reports. You have 3 options for reporting pledges, one-time donations, pledge refusals, and prayers to the ACA office. The first, which is recommended because the majority of our parishes have this database, is PDS. Detailed instructions are included in the files you will download from our website on our parish resources page, and therefore will not be detailed in this presentation. The second is our fillable Excel template, which is also available for download from our parish resource page. That is an Excel spreadsheet that you type in the information and print it out. The third is a manual two-part form, which has to be ordered through our order site. And it's a two-part form in that there's a carbon copy underneath. And when you write down manually all of the pledges that you're sending in, you would tear those papers apart and send the yellow copy in with your pledge envelopes. Note this year we are asking you to please initial any printed reports you are sending in to us so that if we need clarification, we know who to contact directly. So here's an example of our fillable Excel template. If you're not using PDS, we strongly encourage you to use this form instead of the manual two-part form. It's easier for us to read. It does the math for you. You can save it to your PC and use it over and over again. It's just a great tool. So for zero pledges or prayers, enter the name and then zero in the pledge and payment amount fields, and the zero will turn into a dash, and also enter the ACA ID number. For pledges, enter the name, pledge amount, payment amount, if a bank card is chosen, and the ACA ID number. And for blank envelopes, enter blank as the name and leave all other fields blank. Examples of these are in the screenshot to the left. Blank envelopes. A blank envelope is an envelope that is completely blank, sealed or unsealed. No information is provided by the donor. There are two ways you can process these envelopes. The first way is recommended. Do not open, leave them sealed. Write blank on the front, list it as such on your report, and send it in to us. When filling out the fillable Excel template, enter blank as the name and leave all the other fields blank. The second way is by opening. You can open blank envelopes, but if you do, you must have another person present with you and open it together and put your initials on the front. If you find checks or bank card information enclosed, fill out the front of the envelope with the donor's name and information. Use that information to fill out the report. If you find cash or coin, fill out the front of the envelope as blank. Use that information to fill out the report. As mentioned before, if coin is enclosed, replace with cash. Do not tape open envelopes closed. For the volume of pledge envelopes we receive, we use a machine to open them, and the tape jams the machine. Sending in envelopes and reports. We've compiled a short final checklist before mailing processed envelopes and cards to the Archdiocese. What you want to do is double check that the items are in alphabetical order and the number of items match up exactly to the summary sheet. Make sure the label name is the same as the name on the pledge envelope or card. We know it can get tricky when you have a bunch of Smiths or a bunch of Wins. There are a lot of common last names, so please make sure that the label matches the pledge envelope. Again, make sure your parish ID is on all envelopes and cards, and be sure to include a summary sheet, whether it's your PDS printout, your Excel template, or manual form, and make sure your parish ID is at the top. Once you have your envelopes sorted, labeled, entered, and your reports are ready to go, now you can send them in to us. Keep a copy of the reports for your records to compare to the detailed donor reports that we will send to you. Bundle the envelopes with the report page they are listed on and secure with a rubber band. Seal all in an ACA Tyvek 9x12 envelope. We pay the postage and it comes right to us. If you're sending more than one at a time, mark them 1 of 3, 2 of 3, 3 of 3, etc. by your return address so we know we got them all. And use the post office for mailing. Avoid leaving in an outside mailbox at the parish for pickup. If there's one thing you take away from this presentation, it's this. Please do not hold pledge envelopes for any reason. We want to do our best to honor the donor's payment requests, whether it's via credit card or debit card, EFT or billing, and we want to thank them in a timely manner. So please send them in to us as soon as possible. The detailed donor report. Now, after the second weekend of the campaign, we will begin our weekly upload of the detailed donor report to your parish ShareFile account. This lists every donation that has been received and processed for your parish by that date. We ask you to take the reports that you saved and compare them with the report we sent to you for the following reasons. 1, to make sure that what you sent into us is received, and 2, to make sure that what you sent into us is correctly reported back to you. Here's a tip. Parishes with PDS can print out an alphabetical list by last name of everyone with a permanent keyword and then compare it to the detailed donor report. How to read the detailed donor report, in particular regarding parishioner gifts. I'm just going to go left to right to show you how to read this. The left column, first listed is ACA ID number, the name of the donor by last name, name of the donor spouse if available, the donor address in our ACA database, the amount of original pledge or one-time donation, the amount paid to date, the percent of what the donor has paid towards the pledge, and the date of the latest payment received. Notice on the first line, the 92 that's underscored, this shows you who's not yet paid off their pledge. Those who have paid off their pledges will not have this demarcation. Also notice on the second line that the pledge and payment are the same. This person made a one-time gift or they made a pledge with a full payment enclosed. Some folks, however, don't make pledges and give a series of gifts. So you will see this amount increase over time, and that's okay. So how to read the detailed donor report in regards to matching gifts. And again, I'm just going to go left to right. You have your donor ACA ID number. In this particular case, it's Microsoft Corporation's ID number. And then the name of the company who is matching the ACA gift. There are a list of donors who requested the matching gift. And then at the very far end, it's the date of the latest payment received. So in the case of matching gifts, you will also see the donors listed separately on your report under the alphabetical listing by last name so that you can see the status of their personal donations. This also applies when donors pay through a company other than directly through another individual or through a foundation. So what do you do when you get the detailed donor report and find that some of your parishioners are not listed? Well, first of all, those you don't see, especially if it's early on in the campaign, are likely still in process, meaning we have to look them up, call the donor for clarification, etc. It just means that we're still working on it. However, at the beginning of June, if you find there's a discrepancy between your donor list and ours, send an email to aca@seattlearch.org and include the following information. Your parish name and ID in the subject line. So for example, St. Jude 118 ACA Research, the Archdiocesan ID of donor in the body of the email, a complete name of donor and address, and description of the research needed. Through this communication process, we will be able to tell you why a donation you sent in does not end up on your report or isn't on it yet. Some parishes have created Excel spreadsheets with this information, and I find it very helpful because then I can use that as a communication tool back and forth as we do research throughout the campaign. Once you've started to receive detailed donor reports back from the ACA office, you can start reporting results to your parishioners to keep the momentum going. And this can be done through your parish bulletin, email distribution lists, your parish website, parish Facebook page, your parish app, and of course the lovely thermometers that were distributed at the leadership sessions to those who ordered them this year. Now, throughout the campaign, you will receive 2 additional reports that will keep you up to date on how your parish is doing overall. These are the campaign status report and the rebate status report. So here is the campaign status report, an example of what it looks like. I'm going to walk you through it from left to right, going over each column. The first is your parish name listed by ID number. Then you have your parish ACA goal for the year, total raised to date in pledges and one-time gifts, potential rebates to date, percent of goal to date, your average gift amount, number of families who've donated, pledge refusals and prayers, number of households in your parish, and the number of donors divided by the number of households, which gives you your total participation percent. So this particular report gives you a snapshot in time on how your parish is doing so that you can give updates to your parishioners through your website, email, and social media. Here is what our rebate status report looks like. It's similar to the campaign status report, a little bit simpler because it focuses mostly on the rebates. So I'm going to go again left to right just to show you what it looks like. Your parish is listed by ID number. Your parish ACA goal is in the next column. Then you have the total raised to date in pledges and one-time gifts, pledge payments and one-time gifts paid to date, total rebate amount coming to your parish, and the percent fulfilled of the total pledges and one-time gifts. So this particular report gives you a snapshot in time on how much your parish will receive in rebates or how much more you need to go until you get there. So now we start 2 slides of frequently asked questions. Now these might seem to be a repeat of what's been gone over in the presentation thus far, but since we get these questions more often than not during the campaign, it's a good idea for us to highlight them and go over them again. So the first one is, what happens if a credit or debit card or EFT is declined or lost, etc.? What do we do? Well, as soon as we know that it's declined, we send the donor a letter asking them to provide updated information, either directing them to call us or to go online to our donor services page and they can update it themselves. And that is www.seattlearchdiocese.org/DS. It's pretty simple. Now, what if a donor calls you guys to change bank account information? What do you do? Especially if it's for the Annual Catholic Appeal? Well, you can direct them to our donor services page as well so that they can update their information online. You can give them our contact information so that they can reach out to us, or you can give us their contact information for us to reach out to them. So you have a couple options there. What are the pre-printed labels you send to me? Well, the labels, as mentioned before in the presentation, are the list of your parishioners that we have in the ACA database and includes their ACA ID number and your parish ID number. So if you use your own label, please be sure the donor's ACA ID is on it. If it is not, and you use those labels on the entire bunch that you sent to us, that entire packet is set aside for review because each envelope needs to be researched, which will delay in reporting to you and thanking the donor. If the donor information is imprinted on the pledge envelope, what do I do with the label? Only use the label if the imprinted information is not correct. Otherwise, discard it. This is especially important if you use labels to determine your follow-up recipients. Why do I need to send in reports so often? Well, we need to honor the donor's payment requests, credit, debit, EFT, or billing and statements, and thank them in a timely manner. So please do not hold pledge envelopes for any reason. Why do I sometimes see a donor listed twice on the report you send me? Well, donors sometimes send in payments through their business or investment company. And if the payment comes to us this way, we list both separately for accounting and tax purposes. Also, if a donor requests a matching gift through their employer, the match will show up on your report under the company name. Who to contact? So here we are, your ACA team, the 3 of us running the appeal. Monica Lewis is the director. Maggie Stiles, that's myself, the assistant director. Nancy Kitterman is our database specialist. And then I've also listed Brian Gummersall, who is your PDS contact for any questions regarding the ins and outs of running the appeal through PDS, reports and letters, etc. So please contact him. That's what he's there for. So thank you. This concludes our recorded presentation on Annual Catholic Appeal Pledge Processing, and we hope you found it helpful. If you have any questions, please email them to aca@seattlearch.org, and we will get back to you as quickly as possible. If there's something you'd like to see covered in next year's recording, please don't hesitate to share. So thank you again, and we look forward to working with you in the coming campaign. Have a great day.